Okay, we're good. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey,
Kenneth,
hey,
Megan, Rambler, always first. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, no stress tonight. Pedro is over there having the craziest show talking to the WFP.
Yeah.
Um, like Saxon
Will
and Will
and
Morad and
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
So no pressure tonight. We're just chilling. We're just hanging out.
Appreciate you guys being here.
I
Just
know.
want to say hi.
Super cool.
When did
And
you start? When did that podcast start?
4:00 Eastern time.
Yeah,
so
our time.
whatever
Oh, okay.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're an hour in at least.
Yeah, dude, they're going. It is. I look, and we'll talk about it more later when Jenny jumps on. Hey Heidi, what's up? I like my brain shut off when Will said that they didn't test the female workouts with females.
Oh. So, well, honestly though, like some of these semifinal level CrossFit Games level girls are just as good as a quarterfinal guy. Well, okay, not in strength. Sorry, not in strength.
I was just like, as soon as he said that, he's like, well, no, we didn't use a woman to test the women's workouts. I was like, yeah, I'm good. My brain shut off. Yeah, like all of a sudden my estrogen went higher and I didn't know what I was doing. Like, it was crazy. Hey Joseph, what's up?
Bagberry.
What's going on?
Hey,
yeah,
guys.
CPW is crazy. Yeah, it's a really good freaking show.
So good though. So good. We had Pedro on yesterday, so if you guys didn't go check that out, it was such a good conversation.
It was very funny.
Go check us
he was very funny,
out
dude.
on our DCP. He's great. He just is an open book and willing to just chat. And
Yash. Hi, Yash.
Someone, I think it was Bernie Gannon, and I would love to ask you this, Elle, because obviously you've been on our show a lot. We're great friends, and the response that we get a lot is that we're just able to create a setting where people just want to talk and they share a lot of information. Look, so from your perspective, we would just love to hear like why that is. Like what is it about us that like just creates such a space where you're like, fuck it, I'll just talk about anything.
Yeah, with you guys specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, really, I guess it's because I've followed y'all from the beginning, and I've even just with Garrett hearing her first podcast with Savon and just how I hate to use the word open-minded, but I don't know why I don't like that word, but y'all are like, y'all are just very unbiased, I guess, is the thing that I take away. And so it's really easy to not feel like you're going to offend you guys or say something that, makes the conversation awkward. I feel like you're just willing to kind of anything goes, really, the title of the podcast.
Yeah, really.
It just makes it easy to have an open conversation and then honestly like push back too. If y'all I'm never like, oh, they're just going to tell me what I want to hear. Y'all also will push back too, which is good.
Yeah. Just conversation. And I think that that's taken time for us. Would you say that, babe?
Oh yeah,
that
for
has
sure.
taken time. And
it's not easy.
Yeah.
But you're how far along are you now? We haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah. 35 weeks. So last night I literally thought I was gonna have the baby last night. So
stop, really?
Oh my gosh, really?
A little dramatic, but it was the first time that I've like timed contractions and stuff because I woke up at 1:30 and I mean, Colleen, it was just like the most intense contraction I've had yet. And I was like, oh, it's just probably Braxton Hicks. But then like every 2 minutes I was having one. They were like a whole minute, 90 seconds. And I had like 5. So I was like, should I call my doctor? Like, but then it ended up being fine. But it just made it really real that, I could literally have the baby at any time now. So
was your husband totally freaked out? Did you wake him up?
I didn't even wake him up. I was like, because I think I'm afraid of being that girl that is that girl that's just panicking like I'm always in labor, So I didn't wake him up. I didn't call anyone. I was just like, I mean, I'll know when I'm in actual labor. I feel like it eventually, so.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, so for me, I had hip pain, the end part of my pregnancy, like, those last couple of weeks where you just balloon up and whatever. So I had hip pain. So I just felt like it was continuous hip pain. I didn't even realize that I was in labor until they broke my water. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm really, really in labor now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I think you're right on that. I was that paranoid, not that I was in labor, but that something was wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, because for me, I don't think, even though I was 2 days before my due date, I just kind of was at that point like, oh my God, this baby's never going to come out. You know what I mean? Like it's such a, it goes quick and then it slows. And I don't know if I don't know if you're feeling that yet, but like, I mean, what was it? Like 36 weeks or something like that. I just felt like it was moving so slow and it was never going to happen, that I was going to carry this baby for the rest of my life. And so by then I was like, I'm not kind of like in shock when I found out I actually was pregnant. I'm like, I can't be pregnant. Like it's not happening. And then when getting to the end of my pregnancy, I'm like, the baby's never going to come out. He's going to be like 2.5 weeks late. Like I'm just prepared for this. So it didn't hit me until I got to the hospital. And then when they told us that I wasn't dilating anymore, I was like, fuck, I'm really not going to have this baby. And then the doctor said, you know, you're going to have this baby later in the middle of the night. So you can go home or you can stay here and I can break your water. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I'm like, nobody's going home. Like we're going to hang out here and have this baby. So
yeah. I think just because I'm, it might not go this way, but because I'm trying to go the, you know, natural route and just do it, not do an induction or a C-section unless I have to. It's kind of just, it's literally just going to take me by surprise. Like it could literally be any day, but I'm not, you know, most of my friends have, it's May 5th. I'm going in 12 p.m. getting my C-section or getting induced. And that's just almost the norm now. And so it's just really weird that, I'm really might not have that many warning signs. It's just going to have one night or one middle of the day. It's just got to be ready, whether that's 42 weeks or 37. I don't know. So, but yeah, no, I'm pumped. It's just right there. And then excited to, you know, obviously have the baby here and then get back to, you know, just not feeling like I'm waddling around everywhere.
You don't look it because you're working out great and you're showing videos and it's amazing what you're still able to accomplish. But I want to just ask you real quick about what you just said. So your like friends and people that you know already have their C-section scheduled?
Well, a lot of my friends that are recently having babies, it'll be obviously in the last few weeks, they'll know like I'm getting induced on this day. They don't plan that super far out. But yeah, I mean, is
it by choice or is it like as much as you can share? Like, is it by choice? Is it medically or is it you think like or your personal opinion?
It's a mixed bag. Some of them are just, hey, I would rather be cut open, just schedule my C-section, and then some have to be because they've gone a little bit too late or you know, for whatever reason. But and I mean, I'm sure there's a level that's nice. You can tell your family to be in the waiting room. You know, everyone knows you can take off work. My husband and I both own our own businesses, so it's kind of just like, all right, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
we don't know, but yeah. So anyway, maybe it'll be on time, and I'm just planning for the due date. So
yeah.
Can you guys explain to me this this fourth trimester thing? I never heard about it when Colleen was pregnant, and now all of a sudden the fourth trimester thing is a thing. What is it? Is it
postpartum period? Yeah.
Oh, that's what they mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah. People, Colleen, you'll have more to say probably than I on this, but it's I never thought about that at all. Even in all my time at nursing school, they never really talked about that really being a consideration, just how much you have to take into account postpartum outside of just breastfeeding. And I was talking to a lady who is a postpartum educator, I guess you could call her. And she said, take the hormones out of it. Let's just put that aside. If you saw the wound on the outside of your body, that is on the inside of your body from where your placenta detaches, she said, you wouldn't do anything for 3 weeks, right? Other than just sit, breastfeed your baby if you can, and, you know, eat and whatever else. But that never dawned on me at all. It was kind of like, in my mind, you just push out a baby and then your body is just back to normal. Totally. And so and then obviously the hormonal considerations, but just, man, like even where your placenta detaches, it's an open gaping wound. I was just like, all right, maybe I don't need to put pressure on myself to work out a week later just because some people do that, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe I do, but it's just nice to kind of have that perspective.
I just think that we are not educated enough. I think that we are given very small pieces of every narrative without giving us the full picture, because you hear about, you know, conception is easy. You need to stay safe, get on birth control. You don't want noobs, get on birth control. You know, but you don't talk about protection as in making sure and being confident enough to have a man wear a condom. It's always up to the woman, but you have to use birth control, but they don't tell you what birth control does to you long term. They don't tell you all the side effects and the hormonal changes. And also, like, think about it. They're giving you a pill. And it's interesting to me because you hear, like, now I'm listening to people and I'm listening to podcasts and I'm talking to people and whatever, and they don't explain any of this stuff. Like, this pill is stopping you from something that is natural for us to go through every single month. And you're taking a pill. That's obviously doing a lot of stuff on the inside of your body, but they don't explain that to you. They don't explain long term. And sometimes the argument is, well, why do I have to look 20 years ahead when I'm a 13-year-old girl or a 14-year-old girl? Like, why do I have to look that far? And I'm not saying that you have to look that far, but why are we not having a conversation, or why aren't the parents having a conversation about those side effects? And then you get pregnant, okay? And then they don't tell you that pregnancy can be difficult. They show you the beautifulness of it. It's going to be easy, but not all of us have easy pregnancies. And then delivery. Some people that want natural delivery can't have natural delivery, and they don't talk about what a C-section is. Like, the C-section is you're literally cutting through sections of your body to pull a baby. Sections of your body to pull a baby out. Yeah. Again, not natural. You know, and then if you have a natural birth, babies can tear. G almost tore me. But they don't, you know what I mean? They don't talk to you about stuff. And then postpartum, they show you the extremes of postpartum, that you're going to drown your baby and you're never going to want to talk, like, you're never going to want to be around your baby, and you're going to neglect your baby and all these extremes and whatever. But they don't talk about, like you were saying, what the body goes through, that type of postpartum or separation postpartum. You know what I mean? So, like, I just feel like they nitpick, and it's, as a woman, it's so frustrating of, like, that's fine, but give me the whole story. Give me the whole facts.
And have y'all, actually going off of that, have y'all listened to that podcast with Carrie Pierce she did recently about her whole fertility journey? Am I frozen?
Yeah. With Lauren? I haven't listened to it.
I listened to the one with Lauren, yeah.
No, you're
fine.
Okay, there's a little delay.
You might feel like you are on your end. Oh, yeah, are you delayed? Do you need to jump off and come back in?
No, it's good.
Okay, good.
Well, no, Carrie Pierce did. I had no idea who the guy was. He looked like a power lifter, but she did a podcast because she's pregnant now, and she was talking about how she just thought it was normal and kind of cool for so long to not even have a period, you know, with the type of training and body fat percentage you have typically if you're at her level. And it was just cool to hear someone talk about that, because now it's becoming more mainstream where women are willing to share. But she got emotional a lot of times, and it was really good to listen to, because she brought up a story how she was, you know, just throughout her journey trying to get her cycle back. She looked over at a mom with kids, and you know, Carrie Pierce is just completely ripped, right? She just looks like the pinnacle of fitness. And she's like, I looked over at this lady and I just thought she's fitter and healthier than me because she can, you know, have kids. Now, that's not to say if you can't have kids, you're not fit or healthy. Right. There's other things that come into play. But her point was that it's just like, I think we've been told for so long that maybe like fitness and health is one thing, especially in the CrossFit competitive world. And you can be really unhealthy, right? And it's just, yeah, no one talks about it though. No one wants to talk about them not having a cycle for, you know, 10 years. It's not fun to.
There's been little back and forth between people who think that you shouldn't put any pressure on yourself, right? Like up for the 4th trimester, and you shouldn't really do anything. And then there are people who are like, no, you should get up, you should do stuff, you should move around. Isn't it just like a case by case basis? I mean, if you feel good and you can, then go for it. Or is it like a medical thing where you just shouldn't?
For what? Working out?
For that 4th, because I mean, we watched a whole bunch of, you know, CrossFit women do it, and they did it well, and they came back well.
Yeah. I mean, even during your pregnancy, like even like you specifically during your pregnancy, like you're doing things during your pregnancy that are
you are, girl.
Amazing. You know what I mean? That not everybody's doing during their pregnancy.
Yeah, and I also think though, I haven't obviously delivered yet, but I think there's a lot of things you don't see that all these, you know, maybe even Tia, Annie Thorisdottir, all these amazing people, even Paige Powers, who can come back and crush it and compete. Like, maybe everything's perfect and great, and I sure hope it is. But like, I mean, you also probably don't see, no one's going to go on and say, yeah, I have really bad diastasis recti, or I'm peeing all over the place when I'm squatting now because maybe I didn't do X, Y, Z. And so that's what I'm at least trying to tell myself of like, all right, you know, I would love to get back as fast as all of them, but they're not always probably going to be sharing the stuff that isn't great, right? Or like how long the recovery in another area might have taken, even a mental toll or whatever, you know? So I think it's all good stuff to think about.
I think it's a case by case. And I mean, if I remember correctly, Annie's first delivery was traumatic. It was a lot for her. I think she shared it on a couple podcasts and whatever. And I think that that's another lens into, like you were saying, Elle, about, for us in the CrossFit space, we look at her and she is the pinnacle of fitness. She is fucking phenomenal. She is strong as hell, athletic as shit. And like, she is the pinnacle of fitness. And so you kind of assume that she's going to just be able to have a normal pregnancy and have a beautiful delivery, and that, not, you know what I mean? And I think that we kind of put those expectations on things. And I think that it is a case by case basis, as all fitness is. You know, when you hear stories about doctors telling patients to never get up off the couch, like, I feel like there needs to be a very extreme reason for that. But even you hear, like, I love, oh my God, what's his first name? Ogar, what's his first name? Kevin. I love listening to Kevin's story because he just is like, I'm the one that gets in trouble all the time because I tell them nobody fucking cares, get up anyways. And I just think that that's such a powerful message, because we are in charge of the life that we're given. And are we gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love hearing that, but I think it's person to person basis.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. I think maybe it's just proximity bias, but so many CrossFit girls are pregnant right now. Like, so I'm cool to see I'm excited to see everyone's journey. Like Lauren Fisher, I think Katrin, right?
Katrin just announced she's pregnant. Babe, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Heidi said it.
Yep.
Amanda Barnhart, I think, is pregnant.
Amanda Barnhart. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, Vindicate. Well, we're gonna get crazy in about a half an hour.
Yeah,
so
you can always hang out with us.
You know, I don't know if you want to stay for that, but yeah, you're allowed.
Yeah, but there seems like there's a lot, at least that I've seen recently, that are pregnant. So it's cool to see everyone's journey. So
how you are feeling good? You're over the nauseousness, all that stuff, this weird smells, you're over that. That's all.
I felt great my whole pregnancy, but now it's just working out has just this past week gotten really hard. So I'm kind of down to walking right now. And like on the days I feel good, I'll squat and do like upper body, but I was doing great. And then, 35 weeks, I just, I get like a crazy contraction every time I do something too like remotely intense. And so I'm just dialing it back. But
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm so excited. So
Joseph, yes, I will get to your Cinco de Mayo in a second. I promise.
Well, here, Sarah Beth put this up. So
Sorry, Beth. Fourth trimester is a trip. It's way harder to find your body in space again as far as working out versus being pregnant. But slowly but surely, you find your groove again.
Love it.
Do you have all the women in your life around you just trying to like give you all the advice that they could possibly give you?
Yeah. I like it. I kind of am a people pleaser, so I'll just be like, thank you so much. And if someone tells me something or critiques my plan, it doesn't bother me. But people are not afraid to give their opinion, especially about birth, and especially if I'm going with a midwife. I think I've told you all that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
People tell us again.
Yeah, I mean, my plan is to do it, with a midwife, and then hopefully deliver at home. And so I haven't told that many people because my family especially is not like super on board, but now I'm sharing it on the podcast. But, no, it's just like people are so not afraid to tell you the worst story that they've ever heard, the most traumatic. outlier situation. I'm like, I was an ER nurse. I've seen literally about as bad as things can be. So I'll just listen. I'm not going to freak out or anything, but it's just funny. My personality, I'm not going to go up to someone and just try to coax them out of like a personal thing,
Yeah.
It's just interesting. And I know they have good intentions, but it's kind of like politics with birth. People are just very opinionated.
So. Oh yeah. Well, we were talking to Pat the other day on our podcast, and in his defense, I don't really know how we kind of got here, but we were talking about abortion, and we've talked about abortion before on our podcast or whatever, and somehow we got to a place where he was like, he was saying something like it's easier, it's better. He's obviously pro-abortion, but Pat.
Pro-life, yeah.
Yeah, he's pro-choice.
Pro-choice.
Sorry, he's pro-choice.
Pat Lang. Pat Lang.
You probably don't, unless you're like.
Chat? Yeah, I've seen him in the chat.
Yeah. And he was like, well, abortion's not that bad. Losing a child from abortion is not that bad because the baby's not out of the womb yet. Right. So like a woman wouldn't grieve from having an abortion, but will grieve if you. Yeah, you're right, Heidi. I know I said it right the first time. You're right. Pro-life, pro-choice is pro-abortion.
She was correcting me.
Oh. But and I just thought to myself, I was like, that can't possibly be true. Like, and then I had a woman message me, and she has kids now, but she had a miscarriage in her toilet and was just devastated from that. I can't even imagine what that I have to imagine that even though your kid's not born yet, if you lost it, you'd be freaking devastated by it.
Yeah. Yeah. And every situation's very specific, but I had a miscarriage in 2022, and I was probably only 9 or 10 weeks. And I wasn't even, trying to get pregnant. Honestly, at that season of my life, I was really peaking in CrossFit. I was really happy with where I was. And so I always believe, my personal opinion is that a baby is always, a blessing. And so for me, I was like, oh shoot, this wasn't what I planned, but we're going through with this. Obviously, I'm so grateful for the gift. And then miscarried shortly after. And it was really traumatic. I always will consider that our first baby. And it's so, it was super small, it's just, but in your mind, I didn't even have to have a DNC because I was so early on. But yeah, even if you don't admit it, a part of you, I feel like it's sad,
Yeah.
We have we went through IUI and a fertility specialist because I had a difficult time just going to the OGBYN and everything like that. So I was going every day. Or first I was going weekly, and then the closer I got to my ovulation window, I would go every single day, and they would give me an ultrasound and whatever to make sure that, this was the perfect time before insemination and all that type of stuff. So when we got pregnant, because after you get pregnant with this facility for a month, 3 weeks, babe, 2 or 3 weeks after, I would still go and get ultrasounds. Yeah. And so we have ultrasounds of G about this big, looking like a gummy bear, like as small as possible. And I think he probably was only like 2 weeks conceived. And I was instantly connected to him. Whether you call him a baby, whether you call him a lump of cells, whatever name you need to call him, for us, like that was my baby. This big, as tiny as he was, we have all those pictures and we got to see him grow. And I still felt that we get 4 weeks and 6 weeks and 10 weeks and 12 weeks. And to lose a baby that young for me would be very much like you, Elle, like what you're saying, like would be devastating. And I would absolutely feel like that was just the worst feeling.
Yeah. There's a lot of rabbit trails we could go down with that.
We can. Yes. Sarah Beth, thank you for correcting me. I didn't, we were talking about 20 weeks, like what the compromise would be like a 20 weeks, something like that. I think Florida's 15, but, and so we were going down that rabbit hole, and it is it is life, and to say it doesn't affect women until 20 weeks is way off. And I would have to agree with that. I can't imagine, or at least I've never talked to a woman where.
Well, and what I was saying to Pat was that we as humans are very good at compartmentalizing and telling ourselves that we're okay. We're very good at that. And I don't know how we got here, why we got here, but we are so good at telling ourselves that we're okay. But what we don't realize is you start to pull back the layers of going through trauma and working through it and moving through it and all this type of stuff, is that we keep the trauma is in our body. Like, it's in our body for life. And what we eventually start to realize is that it shows up. Yes, Heidi, exactly. Like, it shows up in other ways. So I could be feeling a certain thing from the trauma that I've gone through, but it's coming out as jealousy. It's coming out as lashing out. It's coming out as not being able to regulate my emotions. It's coming out in addiction. It's coming out in, sexualizing myself. It's coming out in all of these ways. I can't have a relationship. I can't have a friendship. I can't keep a job, whatever it may be. Even though we tell ourselves that it's like we're fine with what might have happened years before. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we give ourselves permission, one, to acknowledge that trauma lives in us and it is constant work, but it's more of a compartmentalizing than it is actually dealing with the trauma that we've been through and whatever that trauma definition is for each person.
Right. And I'll preface by saying I'm very pro-life, but if we care about women, like, I don't care who you are, what you believe, if you care about women, you'll acknowledge that to a certain degree, it is traumatic, whether you lose a child through miscarriage, through abortion, in whatever way, no matter how early or how late, whether you mask it or you don't, your body and like you say, Colleen, in some way will keep the score. And whether you even acknowledge it or know it, subconsciously, I believe that there's just something that just sticks with you when you lose a child in any capacity, right? And I work at a pregnancy center, and it's been validated by a lot of the counselors there. They're like, we're not trying to, coax anyone. We're just trying to give them as much resources as possible to, if they choose to keep the baby, which is hopefully what we want, they have as many resources to do it successfully, right? We're not trying to like manipulate or anything, but just help. And a lot of the counselors there, they do post-abortion counseling as well, so that like if a woman unfortunately does, have one, which people will disagree with me, they want to at least like help her, right? It's not like, oh shoot, you made a decision that we don't agree with, so good, best of luck, they acknowledge that like if you really care about women, that's traumatic. If you if even whether you acknowledge it or not, and sometimes that affects your ability to bond with future kids or whatever. And so, yeah, not to go down the rabbit trail, but I'm like, man, if we're pro woman, we would probably acknowledge that it's traumatic, in a certain, and maybe if they want help, give them help.
Yeah.
People will disagree with me on that, but.
Daniel, stupid guy question. What are they looking for with an ultrasound prior to insemination? So
they're checking my eggs to see if they are grown to size. So the thing that I struggled with was I was producing eggs, but my eggs were not maturing on their own in my ovulation window. So they can see that I'm ovulating, but my eggs were not maturing to meet the ovulation time. So even when we were trying to get inseminated, my eggs were not able to, like, the sperm was not able to find the egg, essentially. So I needed help. I needed medicine with that. So when they saw that the eggs that I had, viable eggs, because I would get like one or two that looked a little bit bigger, but they wouldn't mature to the size that they needed to be to meet the egg. Then I would get medicine, take the medicine, and then they would take more ultrasounds to see if those eggs were actually maturing enough or not. So that's what I needed to see, and they can like make sure that the uterus looks okay, that there's nothing wrong in the uterus and everything like that. Yes. Yeah. Uterine wall, all that stuff, to make sure that everything else is working the way it's supposed to give optimal, insemination.
Yeah.
So
we got him on our last try. So that was cool.
I always joke he came out of the left side.
Yeah.
Because I would, when we started going, we went what, three or four times to the specialist. And each time I would get one egg that would mature on the right side. And then the very last time that we tried, I got a mature egg on either side. So I joked with her. I was like, well, if we haven't gotten pregnant yet, so if I am going to get pregnant, there's 2 eggs in there. And my mother's last
twins.
2 sisters are
yeah.
twins. So, and I was like, so we might get twins. And, but then, he showed up. And so I always joke he came out of my left ovary, not my right one. My right one didn't want to come.
I've heard about that.
Nick, this is crazy.
Yes, we've seen this.
Dude, we've seen this. Can you imagine? And then all the kids had to like say where they were, who they were, so they wouldn't end up dating each other and stuff. Like it was
insane.
It was like Genghis Khan type stuff.
It was devastating for the single women that went in there and that just wanted babies and had this feeling that they were going to, that they picked their donor, they know what this baby's biological father looks like, blah, 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 whatever. That's devastating. It's traumatizing to the couples that the father went and gave a sample that was supposed to be inserted into his wife. And they thought that they had a child together finally because they couldn't do it naturally. Come to find out that is not his biological child. Oh. Because the doctor...
Yeah. The doctor was the biological father.
The doctor was the biological father. So you see these couples and then they look, it's like, what do you do from that? Like, what do you do with that?
How do you regulate? I mean, if we're being honest, we're really just trusting that the people in the clinic are super precise and on top of everything because it's petri dishes. Like you could literally just accidentally mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was an IVF baby. That's why I'm a twin. And I think about it all the time because we look nothing alike, like literally nothing. And I'm like, did I get switched at birth? Like we would never know, it's just crazy. Like there's so many people, these embryos are frozen and stuff. How do you know you're getting the,
unless
you could screw it up so easy. People make medication errors in nursing every freaking day. And that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. No, we trust a lot. And if that kid didn't come out looking like me, then
you look exactly.
We do.
Yeah, they do look.
And he does look just like his biological father too. Like it's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Jake, I did see the Dutch guy and there's no regulation on that too, donating sperm. So he's donated sperm like every freaking where. And yeah, now he's got like 500 plus kids and they just can't stop him from donating. He just finds new countries to donate in. It's crazy.
Yep.
That's wild.
I do have a friend of mine whose mom found out that her dad's not her dad because she did like an ancestry test, and that's how they found out that her mom cheated on, because there's like 6 kids, and she kind of really doesn't look like the other ones, like not even the same body.
What's that song? One of these
is not like the other. Yeah, and it is kind of like that a little bit, and. Yeah, it wasn't her dad. It was like the neighbor dude. Like the neighbor. Oh. And he was black. It wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like, but she came out looking Italian. She came out like me. She didn't even really come out looking like her dad was black. Mm-hmm. And nobody thought about it. Nobody knew. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Super funny.
World is crazy, man.
Yes, I am Hiller's cousin.
Oh, Joe Ellis, thank you. Oh, your conversation with someone was fascinating as well. I definitely enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yes, she is Hiller's cousin.
Or sister cousin. We're not sure. We never found out. We didn't do the ancestry.
Yeah, I gotta go do a test.
Did you see the Bill Belichick's girlfriend yet?
What's the controversy? Oh, I've seen her, but like, what's the the controversy is that she's 50 years younger, but
she's 24.
There's new controversy, right? There's something new.
Isn't she controlling?
Yeah, she's controlling him. Everyone's like, oh, he's old. He doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, I feel like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But she's like,
if we're being honest, if you're in a relationship with someone 50 years older than you, there's probably a level of like, just give me I'm sure she's manipulating him. I'm sure. Like
She has to be, right?
Why are we surprised? Also, Elon Musk.
Boy, that's not Hiller's cousin. Her
Eyes are straight.
We all have to look alike. Her eyes are straight. No, actually, wait. I don't know what he's referring to. I don't want to say anything.
I don't think Hiller would mind.
Barry,
what's
I'm
about
sure.
Hiller's eyes? What about his eyes is not straight?
Nothing. The only thing I've noticed is his eyebrow.
No, and his pinky, the pinky that goes out to the side when his hands go, and that one pinky goes out to the side when he gets really serious on his.
I don't even think they have sex. You really think that she has sex with Bill Belichick? Like maybe once every 2 months, I would think.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, I'm asking you. Like,
like think about Elon Musk too, and all those girls that are now up. He's had babies with or whatever, and he just pays. They're no longer together, and they're in the nicest penthouse in Chicago and New York. It's just these. I'm sorry, they're grifters. They're gonna just get the money and run. Hate to say it, but.
I don't know. His first wife is. Oh, okay. Oh, caller. Yeah, we tried this last time. It didn't work out. I'm sorry. I see you now. Let's see.
How did they meet? Bill Belichick and this
on
girl?
an airplane. They were traveling somewhere on an airplane.
I don't know the backstory.
Yeah, they were on.
No, I would not. I would look at him and think he was just someone's dad. Like I would have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't know it was Bill Belichick. No, she absolutely knew that was Bill Belichick. Hey, caller, I'm right here. You gotta just wait a second for us to like take a breath first. Try again. What's going on? It's okay. You can call. You can talk. Oh well, I tried. Yeah. They met on a plane or something, but I don't. Somebody said it. Barry, you think she? So who said it? Was it Nick? She definitely gets him off, but like. I don't know. I don't think it's a lot. I don't think she has to do a lot of work for this. I think her just being on his arm and going with him to red carpets and whatever is enough for him. And he's pretty much going to buy her whatever she wants. And
I've talked to guys about this before, and I ask my husband all the time, just trying to get into.
I think sex has to be the only thing happening in that relationship. What would they talk about? Homework? Damn.
That's actually true.
That's fair.
No, but I ask my husband just how guys think all the time because I don't have brothers. I don't know anything about how guys think. And he at least says it's just a status thing. Like it just comes down to like once you have enough money, then it's just all right. You want to prove that you can get all the girls and you can get, just like the image. I'm sure like I know guys like sex and stuff, but it's just I'm sure it's more about like what you said, just the arm candy too. And like, hey, I am a 60 or however old he is, 80-year-old guy who can get a 24-year-old girl,
So, yeah, I would agree with Jake. When he jizzes, it's a puff out of a cloud of smoke. Yeah, I would have to imagine that. And he probably has to take, I don't know how much medication to get there. So, but good for him. I'm happy for him. At least he's not in like the Chinese brothels the way that, what's his face was the owner of the Patriots. That dude was actually in the brothels, like chilling, hanging out.
He's living his life.
Oh, here we go. Now it's going to get real. We started the right conversation at the right time. Hold on. I don't know.
What are we talking about?
There she is.
Hey.
Don't mind me.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Sweet.
Jenny, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Jenny.
How are you?
I'm going to look over here at my computer to wave at you.
All right.
The camera's over here.
Love it. I like your videos. You make good videos.
Thank you. I did not know you were Hiller's cousin. Why am I the last person to find
Nope, you fell for it, Jenny. Don't fall for it. You're falling for it now. This has been a
we get along great, but we're not actually related. I love Hiller.
Okay.
I consider him a cousin, but not actually. So
they would like see each other in the chat and be like, "What's up, cuz?" And so everybody thought
that they were actually related.
He's great though. I wish we were.
I thought this channel was all about the patriarchy. Okay, do I have someone from jail calling like Savon did this morning?
God, that was so funny.
My
I was
gosh.
like, is seriously calling for
okay,
jail?
caller, what's up? You here? You have my attention. Hello? What's going on? What's up, dude? You there?
Nothing.
No, the volume's all up. I don't know what you got. You there? Good? No?
Oh, you turn the Bluetooth off?
Yeah. Hello? Oh, he's not even on my phone.
Oh.
Caller, you are live.
You are? I mean, you are?
I want to do a show where we just like the whole entire show is you give everyone like a minute and a half and we have a topic of debate and they just hammer it the whole entire show. And we just have caller after caller after caller.
That would be hilarious. I don't know. They're still on the phone. Are you there? Oh, there you go. You there?
I think Sevon could definitely do it, but he has to cut people off because sometimes he'll let people just go.
He just lets them talk and talk and talk.
You're there, man. You just got it. It's your phone. My shit's fine. I got you on. You're not muted. You're good. You just gotta talk.
Is that Tito's, Jenny?
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, you can hang out on the phone if you want.
I just got done with my 10-year-old swim party at the pool, so I'm like really thirsty.
Do I recognize this number?
I don't know.
Fun
Bye,
fact.
bro.
Jen's sign is shaped like a sideways penis. Very many people have told me that, Jake.
Yeah,
I cannot.
Hey, your man is
unsee it.
hot. Colleen finally showed me a picture of your dude. Your dude is hot.
Yeah, he is very hot.
I was like,
We're at the pool. We're at the pool, and my ex-husband shows up, and Dave's sitting there for a little bit, just sitting at the chair, laying out. And I look over. I'm like, babe, you gonna take your shirt off? Like, come on now.
What do I have you here for? Take your shit off. Like,
not that he doesn't already know, but
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're doing we're gonna weigh in on. We talked to Pedro a little bit last night about it. We're gonna weigh in on the cheating scandal that's been happening, and we don't need to talk about his situation. But last night we were kind of talking about if a woman gets cheated on by her husband with her best friend who was in her wedding, I feel like that chick has the right that if she needs to lash out, that she can lash out. Because where do all those emotions go? Like, those are a lot of emotions. And homie already obviously doesn't have any of those. So I feel like she should be allowed to, I'm not saying it's correct or that it's like the, grown up thing to do. But man, come on, there's got to be some emotions in there that she needs to let out in some sort of way. And right now, all we got is the internet. So, no.
I'm not a no. I mean, no. Yeah.
No,
I'm more of what I would do.
Play the song Slash Your Tires and then like slash the tires.
There's this plant that I've heard you can put in smoothies and that induces a heart attack. No, I'm just kidding.
But she's not really kidding. She's not really kidding.
Would anyone know if they were? No. I'm not for airing it on social media.
Even
and I get it. It's messed up. And that's probably like the easiest way in the moment to like get back at somebody who's really hurt you because he has, such a public image. But at the same time, that's something that's really hard to come back from. You know what I mean? If there was ever a chance to reconcile and down the road, like her kids could potentially know that it just, for me personally, I would not like, that's something I would handle, behind closed doors. Like, yeah, talk about it with your closest people and whatnot, but I wouldn't do it.
Is this person doing it? Is she posting everything?
Yeah. I mean, and hers wasn't like direct, right? Or actually it was, yeah.
It was fairly
direct. So it was coochie or sushi or
that was the first one was Coochie went nuts.
Coochie, yeah. Yeah.
She went nuts. Okay, all right, fine. You guys, I get it. I feel like unless she is gonna go damage property, and what did the girl from TLC do? She like threw all his shit in the bathtub and lit it on fire, and then the whole house went up.
Yeah. Dude, you remember Waiting to Exhale?
Yes.
Where she takes all the shit, throws it in the bins, and then just like throws the cigarette in. Mm-hmm. That's my style, but I mean, we didn't have social media back then.
Well, when we were talking about this, what I said was that we are all able to sit here rationally and tell ourselves that we wouldn't do something like that because it didn't happen. I think that it's very possible that a hurt like that definitely brings out a lot of emotions. I'm not saying that you have to go onto social media and do a big, huge spectacle, but I'm also not like blaming her kind of thing. Like whether he put the information out first or not, or however it got on social media, she's going through a lot of emotions right now. So I'm not surprised that something like that happens. We all can say that. And I would like to believe that if, God forbid, anything ever happened, like I wouldn't do that. But I had an ex that did that. I wasn't the one that did it, but my ex did it. So then I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
I
then
think
you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, I think emotions really lead with that. So I think we can all say, well, I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want to put myself out there like that. But I mean, hurt is hurt, and something like that is very hurtful. But I would love to get your guys' opinions on this. There's 3 types of cheaters: sex addicts, opportunist cheaters, and driven to cheating by significant others. That last part is very interesting because what do you mean driven to cheating by significant other? I would first like to know.
So I'd be like, if your significant other wasn't having sex with you, you know, like if you had lesbian bed death and you weren't having sex anymore, really.
I immediately like hate the premise. It's almost like, I mean, I'm sure you could argue this, but it's just like, that just sounds like you're giving yourself an out. Like maybe I should talk about whatever the problem is, or like, yeah, okay. And then I don't know. I kind of hate the way that.
I feel like you kind of know too, right? Like if a few months have gone by and something's not happening in the bedroom, that's red flag number 1.
Yeah.
Like you guys need to sit down and have a conversation. What's going on? Why is it not happening? This is not healthy for our marriage, our relationship, whatever. Because then it'll lead to resentment, and then that will lead to people emotionally attaching themselves to other people, and then that's how it usually begins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you go from there's a problem and then to cheating? Because I feel like that if something was going on and like G and I weren't connected and all that type of stuff, like Jen, kind of like what you were saying, like you say something, you go talk about it, and then you guys decide together, like either the talking's working or it's not working. Like we've tried everything and, you know, whatever. When I hear this whole idea of like lack of fulfillment and lack of, you know, my partner's not giving me what I need, but so-and-so over here is giving me what I need. That to me sounds like that you're giving more time, energy, and effort to the thrills that this one's giving you versus the hard work that you need to do to fix whatever's going on over here.
Yeah, if you're already seeking somewhere else, then you've already started the cheating, in my opinion. Like if you're already even like, you know, it starts with the emotional affairs, they say. I had a friend go through this recently, and you feel like you start talking to somebody about your problems, and then that leads to the emotional part of it, and then you're leaning on that person, and then that can turn into something else. But I think it's like I think this is just me speaking. I don't know if you guys can relate, but for us women, it goes deeper than that. For men, I think it doesn't as much. And so that's why they're most often the ones that are doing the cheating, because it's just easier for them to fulfill a need. Whereas for us, it's much more than just a physical thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say girls, especially, were like way more guilty of the emotional side of things, but also like, could it be too that, or at least I've seen a lot of times when it starts out that way, it's maybe like the girl wants to make the guy feel like almost jealous that like, hey, even if almost not even secretive in some ways of like, hey, I'm just gonna like, you know, confide in someone else because you're not emotionally giving me what I need, which is like wrong. But I mean, that's just as bad. I think that's just as bad as like a guy actually going and physically cheating on a girl in a certain way. Like, for girls, it's almost just as fulfilling to get your emotional needs met as like your physical needs.
Yeah. Just having that attention.
Yeah.
So emotional is just as bad as the physical act for a dude.
Yeah. I don't think it's a cop out for a girl to say, oh, well, I was just It was just
talking to him.
talking. No, I don't think that's any less bad. Yeah.
In my 20s, I would have. Yeah. Shoot. Maybe we shouldn't get into that.
Oh, we should.
No, let's go.
Yeah.
Should. What was Dunce like in her 20s?
In my 20s.
Well, when
Yeah,
it
the
comes
quickest
to
way to get your man's attention is if another man is giving you attention. That's what it was like in your 20s.
Did I say personal
Oh,
experience, Jen?
Well, I'm just listening to you say emotional relationships are just as bad, and I'm like, shit. Well, I'm a lesbian. I've had a million girlfriends because I've had emotional relationships all over the place with like my best friends, like all kinds of shit. So
No, I mean like.
Well, I mean,
yeah, like
I've leaned on some of my best friends before for like love and support and whatever. We weren't hooking up; they were straight. But like,
yeah, if you know for sure you're not gonna, it's like, you know, if you're not gonna sleep with them, then I guess that's definitely different. But if there's ever like, I always say girls and guys can't be friends. Actually, my daughter actually has a really good friend that was a boy, and they just recently had that talk where he was the first one to say, I have feelings for you. And she had to be, oh, wow. Like, we're just friends. We've been friends since the beginning of high school. And I've always told her, like, yeah, like usually most times it's really hard for men to be that close with the female and not, you know, and it not ever turn into something else, or them want it to, at least.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever friend zone people? Did you have to?
Oh, dude. I still have to friend zone people. Yeah.
Well, Ellie got married young, so
I'm trying
How old are you, Ellie?
Yeah, I'm 27 now, but I got married when I was 21. So I'm trying to think if I probably wouldn't even know if I friends are. I guess I probably did because I didn't date that many people. But like, I think it's funny and thinking just in the CrossFit world, because that's really what I've had exposure to with the most, like seeing the relationships crash and burn, and you know, seeing relationships do great and whatever. It's the CrossFit space is like the worst place, I think, to like have a relationship. If you're both like, sorry, that's cynical, but like, oh my gosh, if you're I've even just seen with myself, like sometimes it just rubs me the wrong way when I see, and it's not coming from like a judgmental place, but because I know myself and what I'm like, if I'm not careful, like I can make mistakes too, but like people training together too all the time, like a married guy and a married girl, like there's just like a bond that's created through CrossFit, and like shared suffering, and like obviously there's not like people don't wear a ton of clothes in CrossFit, so it's just like, you know,
there's hot people everywhere.
I've just and everyone's so like pretty, and so I've just seen, I think I've seen a lot of relationships just not do great in the space because it's just almost like you have to be so much more careful than like out, and maybe if you didn't go to a CrossFit gym, and so so take that for what it's worth, but it's just like so many cheating relationships falling apart, at least just maybe it's just my sphere of where I am, and
doubt it.
But I'm like,
we've been fortunate where we are, but it's definitely new people will come in and you'll get to know them, and oh, are you married, or you know, and oh, your so and so doesn't work out with you, and then eventually either they end up not being together or their spouse does join and then becomes a part of it because they see how important of a part it is to that person's life. And it's almost better when you guys are sharing it together. Like our gym specifically, we have a ton of married couples at our gym. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's definitely like, it can be on the reverse so good for a relationship. Like you said, Jenny, like my husband and I do CrossFit together, and it's awesome. We like, we're not on the same like competitive level, but it's so nice to be able just to do a workout together and have that shared suffering. But it works in reverse too, if you're not careful.
Maybe I should wear less clothes at the gym.
Sure, you have those single ones walk in and they're like, "Hi, I'm so and so," and I'm like, "You married? No, I'm not married. Go over there."
Single people over there.
Go over there in the kids section. Go hang out with the kids.
We have one or two singles that hang. There is like a single crowd or not married yet crowd, the married crowd.
Yeah. It's not on
Especially
purpose.
if you're
It's just
hot
kind of
and single
like,
and you're over there.
yeah, exactly. But when it comes to, we were just talking about like emotional relationships and stuff like that. So Garrett and I talk about this all the time. That we are, it's not bad. It's not bad. We are each other's best friends, and also we're married. So we literally tell each other everything. I don't have another best friend that I'm calling and talking about what's going on in my marriage. Like, it's literally just between us, good, bad, and indifferent, whatever. I've always wondered, for straight couples, like, I know, like, you guys have your girlfriends and you talk to your girlfriends about stuff that you might not necessarily talk to your husband about. Do you feel like that is a not wrong, but like not good for the relationship? Like, or do you need that girlfriend to kind of talk about all of those girl things that you need, all of that emotion support that you need with them, but not with your husband? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to go first, Ellie? Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, no, I don't know where I heard this, but I think it was on a podcast, and basically whoever it was saying it's not really helpful to be that girl that always goes and talks, even if it's to your best friend, talks bad about your spouse. Maybe like there's a difference. I think I'm just learning there's a difference in me just complaining or venting to vent and like actually presenting a problem that I'm trying to find a solution to. I think there's like two very different things, because just as a younger girl where a lot of my friends are either newly married or dating, it's just so easy at girls' night to just, talk bad about your husband. Almost it's like the cool thing sometimes. And it's just so unattractive when you hear someone else do it. And then I don't realize sometimes I have to check myself, because it's so easy to fall into that. And then you hear someone else do it and you're like, what in the world? Like, you married this person, like you saw something attractive in them, obviously. And so I've had to really be careful about that, because I think it's really actually a terrible habit. And it doesn't solve anything, at least. But if I have my twin sister or my best friend, I'll go and tell them if something's if I'm really struggling with something, but I'm not just going to bash him and vent about it, I guess, like that. That's just my thought.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think I agree with all of that, actually.
You can't, right? Because then your friends, you go bash your spouse to your friends, and then your friends are like, oh, he ain't shit, girl. You could do blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, you got a battery in your back to just go home and fight with him about it.
Yeah. I always, and I think my closest friends, my two closest friends, I think that they know that anything that we do ever talk about, I've already said to his face. It's not me. It's not me just venting to not go home or to go home and sweep it under the rug. Whatever I'm telling her about is something that's usually already transpired. And so it's just my way of, getting it off my chest, even though I guess we've already kind of settled the beef. But yeah, I'm with Ellie on that. You see other people do it where it's just a constant bashing, and
and it's all the time.
Yeah.
It's all the time. There were, different parts of my life. There's different groups of people. There's different groups of women that you tend to migrate to and hang out with, whether it's the gym, whether it's kids, whether it's, whatever. And you start to have these little groups that you're around all the time for whatever reason. And so many of them, I just hear them bitching and complaining about their spouse. And they'll look at me like, you know what I'm talking about? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because
it's usually dumb shit too.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that they'll ask you for something that you'll go find 3 seconds later. You know what I mean? Say jokes about stuff like that. But yeah, if they're,
or the laundry will always be on the side of the laundry bin and not in the basket.
Right. Yeah.
Always. Or the dish will make it to the side of the sink, but not in the sink.
It's cool. It's all right.
Of course, I'm talking about our child, honey.
Of course you are. Of course. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know. I think Savon's channel hates phones because it works on my channel all the time. And
So whenever you're on his, it doesn't.
Whatever's happening. No, it's the same thing that I do.
Same roadcaster, yeah.
Yeah, same everything.
Talk is not.
And the calls come through, and for some reason it just won't. I think.
Did you restart your Bluetooth on your phone?
Yeah, everything is
working.
Absolutely normal, and it just. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know why it won't pick up the sound now.
I think it was Vincent. If your wife is still here, maybe try to put it in the chat, and we'll talk or answer anything that she.
I have
she has.
Now I'm gonna have to go on our show and see if it works, and if it does, then Savon's channel really just hates phone lines. Like,
oh, they liked it earlier, right? Wasn't it?
He finally got it. Yeah, the inmate surprise. Yeah, that was
base show.
Different numbers though.
Wait, is who's commenting on the base show? Is that Jake?
That's Jake.
His wife commenting. Okay.
And then Jan is outside the box. He's here somewhere. He was here.
Yeah. I will literally walk away. Like, there's a conversation going on with a couple of people, and I'm in the middle of it, and that kind of shit starts going on.
Well, Heidi said it too. Like, there's just miserable people, and I think people who are miserable in their own marriages or in their own situations or whatever tend to be.
They want everybody.
Want everybody to be miserable with you. It's like.
Yeah.
Well, and they complain like waiting for you to do the same thing, or they complain so that you can give them advice, and then you give them advice and then they don't do anything with it, and then they can come back and complain about the same thing. Those are the ones that really drive me up the wall. Like, at some point, be a big kid, put your big kid pants on and go have a conversation with your spouse, because I'm not the person you should be having this conversation with.
Yeah. And also too, like, we all in our relationships, like, tolerate things differently. There's some things that might work for you and your man, or Elle, you and your husband, us, like the chat. Like, there's certain things that we tolerate that we wouldn't like someone else wouldn't tolerate. And so when you are in a group of, women, in our cases, like a group of women, listening to them bitch about something, and they try to get you to understand, no, I don't understand that, because I don't know, like, that doesn't fly in my marriage. That doesn't work for me. Like, I don't walk through my marriage like this, or I don't do this, or, and it's no judgment. Like, you do what you want to do. Like, the big one for us was, like the co-sleeping thing. And they were like, oh my God, I just can't sleep. And their kids are, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're still sleeping in the bed. And they're like, you know what that feels like? And I was like, no, because my wife said no kid in the bed. Like, that was not about to happen. She said, this is our bed. The kid doesn't need to be in our bed. And so even though that was something that I wanted, because that's what I grew up looking at and watching from my sister-in-laws and my cousins and, whatever, she was like, we are a couple. We need to stay a couple. This baby needs to be in his own crib. And then he was in a crib in our room. And then she's like, you're not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. This baby needs to be in his own room. And I'm glad that she did, because he's a beautiful sleeper. But then I hear stories of like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted because my kid doesn't sleep and this, that, and whatever. And I'm like, like, how did you do it? How is G a good sleeper? And I'm like, we just put him in his room and dealt with the first couple months. Like the first probably month and a half was tough, but you just get through that. And then now he's a fantastic sleeper. No night lights, no craziness, just goes to bed, lights off, and sleeps all night.
Yeah.
But can't relate to you. You know what I mean? And then they get mad at you. And like you were saying, they want your advice, but they don't really want your advice.
And
they just want you to co-sign.
What happens if you end up giving them the wrong advice? Like, what if you give them advice, they go home, they do it, it fucks everything up, and then they're like,
now I'm getting a divorce thanks to you.
Yeah. I don't want that responsibility. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind. If you're asking for my advice, I'm going to give it to you. You might not like it, and it may not work out for you, but you asked, so that's all I need.
Next thing you know, they're getting a divorce. Like, Ellie, don't call me, because I'm not telling you shit, because I want to be friends forever. So
people will ask me about my daughter, like, how did you raise such an amazing daughter? Like first in her class and all these things, and she's so great and all this. And I'm like, just luck, I guess. I mean, I can tell you I was just straight with her. I never treated her like a baby. I never did baby talk. I never
gentle parenting. You didn't gentle parent?
No, I was not.
Oh, please tell me your views, both of you, on gentle parenting. Please. Dents, we'll start with you. How do you feel about gentle parenting? Please tell me.
No. Oh God. The internet's gonna explode.
Please, unfiltered, rated R. Tell me about gentle parenting.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
she's Gen X.
Yeah, I had it easy. I'm not gonna lie. Like Lexi was definitely. I always say, I don't always say this, but I've come to realize that certain things in my life, like God gave me certain things in my life when I needed them. I was young when I had her, and so I wasn't young, but early 20s, and she was just such an easy kid, such an easy baby, just always went with the flow, never got in trouble, was just always a pleaser, was, teacher's pet, kind of like that kind of kid. And so she made it really easy for me. I can only remember maybe 1 or 2 times I had to get onto her until she was a teenager. And then that's that, mothers and daughters are always going to have a moment when they're teenagers. And so we had one instance where I really did have to get onto her. And my grandfather used to tell me this story about my mom when she refused to clean her room, and he just got sick of it one day and just went into her room, opened up the window, and threw everything out the 2-story window. And I'm talking everything. And she had to go down in the yard and pick her stuff up and bring it all back up, do all of her laundry, clean everything, organize it, put away. And I got to that point with Lexi and I did that to her. And that was probably the last time that that was one of the only times I ever really had to get onto her as a teenager. But the other girl, the 2 littles are close in age. So a lot of bickering, a lot of, little brother, sister, or sibling stuff. So I have to be a little bit more stern with them, for sure. But
that sounds dangerously.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that sounds dangerously close to what my grandmother did to my grandfather and I, when she had her fill, and like I was supposed to put my clothes away, and I left them on top of the dryer for like the second day, and then my grandfather was, calling her every 5 seconds, "What are you making for dinner?" or some shit like that. And then my grandfather and I got home from the deli, and I might have been 15, 14 or something. And like all of our shit was on the front lawn. Like all my clothes were on the front lawn. Pictures of their wedding was on the front lawn. Like it was like everything was on the front. Yeah. And then she took the because they had 2 cars, and she took the nice one and went and stayed the town over at a like posh hotel, and was just like chilling like for the whole weekend.
Not just one day. She was gone the entire weekend.
Yep.
Oh my God.
She came back Sunday night looking refreshed, rejuvenated, like she'd had like pickles on her eyes or whatever the hell that is. And yeah.
When I think of gentle parenting, though, I think of like, I know you can define it a bunch of different ways, but I'm thinking of those ladies on Instagram that are trying to have a intelligent conversation with a 2-year-old and basically expect them to regulate their emotions, and they don't even know what's coming out of their mouth. I'm like, that to me. And I also think it's different. I mean, I was spanked like crazy as a kid, and I think I'm better for it. But I think it was different that I was most afraid of my mom. Like she was the one that would wear me out. And like my dad never would neither of them would really, my dad especially would never spank me angry. And I think that is like important, like the gender thing. Like my mom, I mean, she would like chase me around the house angry and spank me. But I think it would have been, I would have a different take if my dad like spanked me out of anger, so I guess that matters, but I definitely think it's good for kids to
get a spanking.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, I guess I took it down the spanking route, or even just like a creative, like really annoying like we had to pick weeds. I had to fill up an entire trash bag, like the huge ones you have in your kitchen. I would have to fill that up with weeds before I could come back inside. And it would take me 3 to 4 hours. I'm super allergic to poison ivy. I would have it all over me. And my parents were like, sorry, you know, don't make that mistake again. Or we'd have to run around that house like until we accumulated 2 miles. Like, it was like bad, but just as bad as the spanking. So you don't have to like spank to make it. Yeah.
You just need creative ways.
Yeah. But the gentle, if my parents had tried to talk with me, like when I was 3 years old, about bringing my emotions down and all that, like, I mean, I'm just throwing a tantrum, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of it too is just starting it young, like as young as you possibly can. When they learn to communicate, that's the time to do it, because they're learning everything that they're learning from you. So if you're yelling and shouting and whatever it is that you're having to do at a young age, they're always going to expect that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you're, oh, sweetheart, can we keep something? Then they're going to expect that as well. So I think, like, I mean, I'm at the point where my kids now, I just have to look at them.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what Jake is saying. You can be physically imposing without striking your child.
Right. Sure. I just always bring myself down to their level, and I look them in the eye, and then the tone.
Look, that's all I needed from you right now.
But when you come down to their level and you get right there to them, and you know, they get it. You just
Yeah. I have the look now. I have the mom look now.
Yeah.
I didn't have it when he was super young. I have that look now. He'll look at me and I'm like,
yeah.
He's like, oh shit.
What? All right, Vinny. My wife wants to know, what was your this is definitely my kid moment with your kids, like how they act, or bonding.
I assume like doing something that you maybe did as a kid, maybe on like the more like the things that got you in trouble, I guess.
Yeah, right, Slappy? Dens gave me PTSD with that look too. When she stared right into the camera, I was like, yeah, well, we're going to change the subject on this one, because
I mean, all kids are different. Like I said, Lexi was easy. Matson, my middle child, she's just as easy as Lexi was, but Lucy is tough. We definitely have to get onto her a lot more, and she's just, when you meet her, you know, everyone, you know.
But teenage
Matt's
girls
like,
are
little
ridiculous.
Lucifer's running around the gym, and I'm like, she's that crazy kid that pushes the boundaries, you know, any chance she can. But that's the kind of feisty you don't want to ever go away. You know what I mean? Like, you can channel it, and you can teach them and guide them how to use it to their advantage. I think, without having to, like Jake said, like, nobody wants to have to spank their kids, right? Like, we don't want to do that. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes. I got my butt whooped for sure.
I did.
I said one bad word to my mom, and it was a slap across the face, and I never said another bad word to her again. So I learned my lesson. That's for damn sure. I was like, hey, no messing with that crazy Italian lady.
Oh my gosh. I remember asking my mom what she did all day. Like it was like sad. It was sad. And she's like, stayed at home. So I was kind of right. I was kind of like, and then I got the word. She lit me up.
Yeah, you deserve that too. You don't ever.
What did you do all day?
She never gave me the answer. I was like, you watch Oprah. No, she's the best mom in the world. She did so much, but that day, at least. That day.
Just that one day, Mom, you didn't do shit, and I saw it.
I was like, Dad, I was actually right, at least today.
Your dad was probably like, but baby, you cannot say that out loud. Those are inside thoughts.
You keep them to yourself.
I knew what I was doing. I deserved it.
My mom always had the don't talk back to me line. And so then I wouldn't talk back. And then she'd ask me a question. And so I just stand there. And then she'd be like, why aren't you answering me? And I would just stand there. And then she'd start screaming, why aren't you answering me? And so then I'd answer, but it was like, don't talk back to me. So I was like, I got nothing for you now. Like, just give me the spanking. Let's go. Like, I'm over it.
Pull the pants down. Go for it.
I'm fucking 5 years old and already 5'10". Just give it all you got. She's like 5'5". Like, knock yourself out. Whatever.
Cool.
Italian extra slop. Italian moms. I'd get it from my mom, and then my friend's crazy Italian mom would hear about it and give it to me too.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, Jenny, before we get out of here, I do want to ask you this. We talked a little bit about it with Ellie. She tried to help us out, but I'm gonna ask you real quick so we can get the answer. I was watching the WFP show on Pedro's.
Thank you.
And my brain stopped when he said that there were no females testing female events. And then
I was literally at the pool with one earbud in, listening while the kids are playing, like watching the chat just go off. I
just don't. So then Colleen brought up a good point, which was, did you do that because of all your years of CrossFit experience, learning how to differentiate between male weights and female weights?
Mm-hmm.
So, CrossFit. Like, right. Colleen's like, say their names.
They still didn't answer. I mean,
was it good? Did you hear the rest? Dude, I am sorry. Sevon, I am trying to answer this phone call. Can I just...
Is it Seven?
No.
Sevon.
Can I just listen to you?
Sevon.
Can I put you on speaker?
BS. She was waiting for this moment.
I think they're supposed to go on in a little bit. So
yeah, we got.
Sevon's going on. Yeah. Oh, they're doing
the update show. Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch some of it because I know I missed a little bit of the WFP just in between birthday stuff. But from what I caught, I'm sitting there just like, send Taylor and Hiller a link. Somebody say, read these questions.
Yo, Taylor was in there though.
Yeah, Saxon, I could tell, was like getting a little, because he was reading all the comments. And I could tell.
Can I call you back?
Did he mean to say that? Or did he realize he had slipped up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I call this number back and put you on speakerphone?
I haven't really looked at the WFP workouts. Are they not comparable for girls versus guys?
I don't know.
The weights?
Yeah.
I think they're the usual. Yeah. Like as far as
what's up?
Yeah, I'd have to pull them up and go back and look. But actually nobody, so you know how everybody always does the shows where they break down the programming? Nobody broke down any of the programming for those
very well in the phone.
Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to, and then I was like, "Oh, we're doing this thing where we're not."
I think that was a troll too.
Oh, we got our first troll.
I think I don't know, but all I heard was like a little kid yelling in the background, and like my mommy told me to call you, and so I immediately fucking hung up. Like, no, you are definitely a child. I am not answering this phone. And then I thought I heard a dude for a second, but you can't even hear him on my regular phone, so I don't. I think it's his end. I don't think it's mine. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to check it on my podcast.
Okay.
Do you think more trolls don't call in just because they're worried we'll have their phone numbers? I'm always like, why don't people call in? I mean, you can pretty much be anonymous aside from the fact that we'll have your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. But some of these phone, I don't know. I feel like I've seen that phone number before, but now I don't think so because I've never heard a little kid in the background, like ever in any phone call. So either way, I don't like that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not listening to your kid.
Yeah.
No kids.
No, thanks.
No kids. Absolutely not.
All right. Yeah. So that was fun. Right. We'll go let everybody relax and eat dinner and get ready because tonight's probably going to be a wild ride on Sevon's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, ladies, for hanging out with us.
Leaderboard to update.
Oh, yeah. For the WFP?
Or no, for Indy. It should update. I would guess. When does do
they not get Monday? Usually
no, they were due today at 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. So it should. Last week when the teams, it was probably like an hour and a half later, I think the leaderboard populated once the team's deadline went in.
Are they
All right.
reviewing Indy though? Because they didn't review a single video for Team.
Yeah, they got to be. Indy's got to make theirs public, so we'll get to. We should be able to see them all once they pop up.
That's wild. They didn't review Team.
That is pretty wild.
Absolutely wild. But I
no
guess
penalties, no nothing. Just
like tell us you don't care about teams
without telling us you don't care.
That I would be so if I made it and I was on the team, I would be so like offended. This is a joke.
I went down a little bit too to just kind of, there were a few names in there that I didn't really recognize, so I went to just kind of check the athletes out, see how they had placed in the open, things like that, see if they had any previous quarterfinal experience or semi experience. But yeah, I would be curious to hear Dave thought. I'm sure somebody's going to comment that on Dave's weekend review so that he can address it, because that is kind of a big deal, I think.
Yeah.
Well, where can they, Harley Mom, where can we see the leaderboard?
CrossFit Games website. It'll be there. It'll be up. Yeah.
Well, hold on real quick before we go. So one of our dear friends, Tucker, has made it back to semis. So if you can go support him, there's a link down here for a t-shirt. So you just go put your name in, your address, your size. And
you guys know
like
Tucker.
That.
You call him Tucker the fucker. We call him Dreadlift.
He'll be at TFX, right?
Is that the one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll
so go support. Go snag one of those shirts or whatever to support him. So excited for him to go back to semis and hopefully grab one of those spots to make it to the game. So it's over in his story.
Yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Have fun tonight. Can't wait to watch the chat go nuts in the one tonight.
Yep.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, we'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.